my buddy Dave he goes to every Canes game. He went to Atlanta,
Oh man,
right?
hard times.
And he made a very valid point that I never thought. And I think if I tell you this, it's gonna be like, you know what? I get it. And let me give you an example. So Kyler Murray is the quarterback for Arizona, and you bring in a coach that uses Kyler Murray, but understands that the way their offense is set up, in order to beat people, they're not going to just be able to line up and just sit him in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. They're going to do a lot of different things, move him around, play action, misdirection, and all that stuff. When you watch the Canes game, Manny Diaz thought we can just line up in front of them and play. And from that standpoint, that is on coaching for this reason. You know you don't have the talent that they have. So you need to come out guns a-blazing. Little trickeration, little misdirection, though some little caveat to your offense. They tried to do it defensively, but it really didn't work. But offensively, you need to come out and do a lot of different things to at least try to do something, to create some kind of advantage, whether it's with a pass pattern, whether it's with a combo, whether it's where, just formations. If you had seen that while you were watching the game, you would have said to yourself, clearly Alabama's more talented, but I don't fault Manny for trying every possible thing that he can to try to get something done. Instead,
I think I'm also disappointed because I think we came out of last year very high on Rhett Lashley and his innovation and all those types of things, and man, we just didn't see any of that.
Right, you just didn't see it. Now, I don't know whether it was from an execution standpoint or whatever. The other thing is when you're a team that's not dominant athletically. For example, you remember the Rams and when they were the fastest show on turf, the greatest show on turf?
Yeah.
And the coach would say, I don't care about picks. We'll get the ball back. We'll score in the next series. Everybody can't play like that because everybody don't have the talent to play like that. Okay? Some teams have to play, case in point, the Dolphins have to play mistake-free football. And what that does is, even though the other team may be more talented, you're not giving any freebies, and you are in every game. You're in it. You're close. So that if you should happen to get a drive or a big play, you have a chance to win the game. The arrogance that this team plays with without understanding where you fit in is, I think, what bothers me more than anything. Like I would have been perfectly fine with, you know what? I can see that.
You found it to be arrogance? Because I found it to be like, I think a lack of confidence is the way I thought that they played.
No.
I didn't think
when you're out there with the turnover chain and you're getting guys kicked out because targeting penalties, you're playing with a level of arrogance.
Okay, but the turnover chain didn't come out till they were already down 3 scores. Like, I get you, but
which makes it even worse.
I mean, it comes out when it comes out. I mean, that's fine. You can argue that if you want to, but I mean, saying that they came out with an arrogance is a little bit weird when they're running the ball on 3rd and 7. Like, that's not an arrogant play style. That's
No, it's not. It's not. But that goes to, look, there's an attitude that you have to play with. I get that. There's a level of confidence that you have to play with in order to succeed, because football is a sport that you have to BS your body on a daily basis to go take this beating. And so sometimes guys do that, with that confidence and that arrogance. However, you always have to be in a position where you know what the hell you're doing, and you always have to feel that you have a chance to win. Even if you don't, you have to go in there with that level of confidence. I'm wondering if these young men, when they go into a game, And when they go into a game like that, if they are playing with a level of confidence that they believe they have a chance. Because, like, I would have been, look, if they would have aired it out 30 times, right? And just say, we taking our shots down the field. Now, keep in mind, they didn't have time for that. But if we had saw things that we had not seen from Miami in the last couple of years, and we said, uh-oh, they're trying something new for this game because, they understand. I think we would have been more in line with understanding the uphill battle that this team was dealing with in that game. But the fact of the matter is, it almost looked as if, like, man, they're not even trying. Like, try to win. Try to have some success.
It felt very much like they were just trying to hang, and they didn't want it to turn into disaster. But, like, it felt like every time you were relenting the ball and giving it over to Alabama, you are basically giving up on the game.
Right.
And I do feel like in games like that, I mentioned this yesterday, like you saw in like the Minnesota Ohio State game, PJ Fleck went and took a big risk early in that game, but I think he knew that he had to just to feel like he could hang in that game. And this Canes game, like they didn't do that. And then all I hear from the coach afterwards is complaining about something that happened after halftime, after his team couldn't get a yard, and is still talking about the replay, the good quality replay that he needs to see of maybe intentional grounding or not.
Let me ask you this.
Thinking that would have swung things when the damage was done.
You think if Brian Flores is in that situation, he complains about any of that?
No, I think it's natural to him. I really do. Like, I'm listening to his.
He's looking for an excuse and not a reason.
I'm looking like I listened to like Manny Diaz speak afterwards. Like I was listening to his day after press conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 18 minutes long, which for a press conference is very, very long. It's very long,
right?
And I'm like, especially after you just had a press conference about the game. And I'm thinking, like, man, were there really that many questions? And no, just like every answer is like 90 seconds. It's always just like a giant explanation. It's always like, and you may say, well, isn't that being thoughtful to the media? No, it's because he's talking in circles. It's like everything he's got to take it back to where things started. It's just never what it is. It's never at face value. And I think that's what's frustrating is like you go to this guy and you're trying to just get simple answers. And they're always just complex, and they're always 6 degrees of something. And I don't know, man. It's just. I was talking about this yesterday. It's not just that they lost, but it just feels like the way that they've lost in every facet, and the hopelessness of feeling that you'll ever get to anything elite again. So
right, and you know what? Here's. I don't know if it's necessarily an attitude thing. Right. But I do know this. If your coach is giving excuses and reasons along those lines of they screwed us, what do you think the players are doing?
I mean, I feel like they're looking at that and thinking, all right, it's not that big a deal. It's on them, not us.
Right. We had a chance to win. Or like I hear my buddy said, hey, if we had a couple of different outcomes for a couple of different plays, I'm like, no, the score would have been the same. And everybody needs to get over that. Like you didn't stop anybody. You didn't run the ball. You tried to rush a play on fourth down.
From the
just
shotgun.
A whole lot of think about this. D'Eriq King is 100 and nothing pounds, right? Okay? Just basic physics. Alabama up front defensively is a bunch of men.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna try to push his little ass up the middle? I would spread so many guys out. I would spread them all out. Roll him out. Give him a chance to pick his way through because he's small. You're not going quick. What do you think? Wait. What do you think one of the first things Nick Saban does in practice? Be ready. Be ready. Be ready on everything.
Right. That was another thing, too, is that Manny was like upset that the referees weren't spotting the ball fast enough. He's like, the way they're setting the ball down. I'm like, really, dude? Like, that's.
Now, we'll tell you this about officials. If you are a team that does that on a consistent basis, they will try to set the ball as fast as possible. If you are a team that normally huddles up, how the hell are they supposed to know that you're going to hurry up? You see what I mean? So even in their minds, they are set to kind of officiate the game the way it's being played. So if you're a hurry up offense and everybody knows, I mean, think about this. How fast would Oregon get the ball set?
Yeah, but one way or another, whether they're doing it, it's just such weak sauce, man.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Like, even if they are and they're in that mode or they're not in that, just the fact that it's always mentioned. Hey. It's like, bro, you got drubbed by 40.
You know what I remember? Every time I hear Manny talk, I think of the coach for Pittsburgh when he says, what is the first thing he says? No excuses. We got our ass kicked. We got to go back to work. Blah, blah, blah. Boom, done. Out of here. Right? That's it. That's it. They can nitpick or whatever. That's it.
It feels like if he was as detail-oriented covering his ass on press conference answers as he was on preparing for the game, we'd be in a much better spot.
Yes. That's the crazy thing. Look, we always think about other sports. Like, you know what? Say what you want about Ben Askren. You know what he did? He said, I'm going for it right now. Boop, he got knocked out. But guess what? Everybody said, ooh, he sure went for it. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see, understand where you are, understand where you fit in, understand what your circumstance is versus the team you're playing, and just go after it. Go after it. Do something. At no point in that game, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, did you ever feel that the Hurricanes were doing anything to win the game?
No.
Right.
No.
That's the frustrating part for me. That I was looking for something. Give me something that says, you know what? They're trying to win the game. Even on the fourth down. It didn't look like they were trying to win the game.
Convenient. Let's swing back to the Miami Hurricanes here. So Manny Diaz yesterday, he had his Monday press conference reflecting on the ass-kicking they took to Alabama and was asked about the idea of, hey, you guys had a lot of time to prepare. How'd you end up down 27-0?
Hey, Coach, you had 8 months to prepare for the game. Just how do you explain getting down 27-0 in the second quarter?
Well, yeah, I think I just explained it, right? So, 8 months to prepare for the game, as you mentioned. The first two plays, first play they go nowhere. Second play, it's a long, incomplete pass. Third down, it's Amari Carter comes through on a blitz, knocks the running back absolutely on his tail. Quarterback has pressure right in his face, not a very tall guy. Hits a strike on the outside lane. The same thing. The receiver kind of pushes off, but we don't do a great job of driving out of the break. It's completion. And those are the type of plays. That's just one example. But if we get off the field, if we come out of our break and bat that ball down, that's a 3-and-out to start. Everything else goes from there. So to me, 27-0 is a series of events that occurred. Now it looks like, non-competitive, not ready to play, or those type things. To me, it's a game, and there are football things that occur in a game, and that's the point. It's the competition and the execution is what they were able to do at a level that we couldn't match. They were going to be difficult to beat anyway. We had to win the critical situations. We had to win turnovers. We had to win explosives. And it went the other way, and that's why the score looked the way that it looked.
Design something, bro.
And first, one other point. Remember, they've been doing this to pretty much everybody. They won the national championship game by 30 points. They're really, you've got to do everything right to give yourself a chance to win. And by all means, we did enough wrong to put ourselves in a huge hole.
Okay. What a guy. Okay. When you see all the things that he explained,
football things,
they can be explained by one phrase: they are better than you. Okay. Why can't your guy come out of the break? Because their guy can come out of the break faster. Okay. Let's not make it sound like the plays were there for the taking. The plays were there to be made. We just didn't make them. That's the way he makes it sound. You know why it looked like Miami couldn't tackle? Because those guys did a better job of breaking tackles. Like, it's not as simple as if we just do this, we could have had a different result. No, that's why you compete. Running backs competing to break tackles. Are you good enough to bring them down? Well, we saw the answer yesterday. No. Or the other day. No. Stop making it sound like it was so simple. All we had to do was this.
My favorite though
That's not how that works.
My favorite though is when he's like, well, don't forget, they've been doing this to everybody. I mean, they won the national championship. Dude, hey.
Stop.
Hey.
That's like saying, hey, why did you steal it? Right? He was doing it too.
Yeah,
like that's what it sounds like.
Everybody gets their ass kicked by that. All right, look, listen, I'm not focused on other people's ass kickings right now. I'm worried about your ass kicking.
Here's what I would say. This is the only reason why I haven't bust out the bum guns, right? Because look, I had him in the holster when I sat down, right? Because I knew I was going to hear something crazy, right? Here's why. Because we knew this was going to happen, okay? But regardless of what happened here, it is still not going to make or break the Hurricane season. That they can still do good things. And maybe they bit off more than they could chew with Alabama. But that's not what the rest of their schedule is. You see what I mean? And so I'm still going to be positive from the standpoint of, hey, what happens after that game if they get to the ACC championship game? Right? Like, it's early in the season. It happens.
All right, but do you have any and I know Clemson didn't look that great, but if they do end up in that position, how great do you feel about them against
right now?
Against the situation?
Right now, after this past week, not good. But again, you have 9 games. Now, if we keep having these conversations,
I don't think anybody's saying the season's over. Like, honestly, it's really not. If you want to put it in the scheme of things of even making the playoff, like, it's not. If you're going to lose a game, like losing,
they're not making no chance.
If you lose, if first of all, if you win the ACC and your only loss is getting the doors blown off you by Alabama in week 1, that's probably as forgivable a loss as there is.
Good question. There has been no team to make the playoffs, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this: there's no team that made the playoffs. They got the doors blown off by 30.
You might be right. But the point is,
no, I know I'm right. Okay, you don't get blown up like that. And because here, when they start comparing, okay, let's compare one loss teams, and you lost by 30.
But if you what if Alabama is doing that to everybody this year?
Don't care.
I think you're wrong there. I think if they do steamroll everybody, if they steamroll everybody, everybody, and the Canes win a conference, then I think it's doable. I think it's doable. I don't think it's likely. I don't think it's likely, but I think it's doable.
Right. No, it ain't. It's not doable. But here's the other thing that you're gonna have to put them second or third. You can't put them fourth and have Alabama play them again.
That's true.
So yeah.
Didn't they expand it though?
Huh?
Didn't they expand it?
Not this year.
I thought they got expanded to 6 games.
No.
You want to hear him talking about missed tackles?
You know what? I spent a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could not run away from a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when I did break free, I got nervous because I knew I was getting caught soon. But if a guy was in front of me, I could break a tackle. I don't care who it was. That's the mentality I had. That doesn't mean that guy's a bad tackler. That means I do a good job of breaking tackles. So for him to say, look, I don't like the fact that we just sitting here chalking this up to, hey, if our guys tackle better, there's a reason why you miss tackles, because the other guy's really good too.
They tabulated they had 21 missed tackles according to Pro Football Focus.
And then and guess what? Show of hands. Who doesn't give a rat's ass?
Really? Okay, so you don't care about his explanation of missed tackles?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you want to hear?
I don't.
So do you want to hear from Rhett Lashley on the idea that they're conservative, because he pushed back on that?
Here's how offensive football works. Like, you can have a general idea of what you want to do and what you think will work. And your game plan could be to open it up. But what happens is, during the course of the game, when you realize it's not working, and then you're scrambling to try to find something that works, that's where it looks a little clunky.
Here's Rhett Lashley after or on Monday. This is him pushing back on the idea that Miami was conservative in their play calling.
I can see why it would appear that way to your fans, that we started conservatively because we didn't play well. We weren't being conservative. I think the first drive, we had 3 really good plays. I think we went 6, 6, 5, and we were rolling with a 2nd and 5 until we had a false start. That put us in 2nd and 10. So, we ended up having to punt on that drive. I think the second drive, really, we didn't execute the P&10 call to start the drive. We had something that was there to throw it, probably, assuming we throw and catch it, it's about a 20-yard gainer. We don't. We hand it off into numbers, take a 1-yard gain, end up going 3 and out. That's not obviously how we intended it to happen. And then the second drive, we get a first down, try to go fast. We're taking a shot down the field that we had. And, we get beat at right tackle, take a sack, fumble. The fourth drive, same thing. We get a first down and we're taking a vertical shot. And we had, again, the matchup we wanted. And, our running back got beat into protection. We took a sack. So we were not good. We were not productive. We're disappointed with the way we played, but there was no intent to come out conservative. But hey, when you either turn it over, take a sack, go 3 and out, you're not on the field to get in a rhythm. We were able to get in a rhythm into the second quarter in a 2-minute drill into the third quarter. And we were able to stay on the field, play with tempo like we needed to all along. And I think that's probably why it looked like we opened things up. If that makes sense.
What's a great thing about MMA, Tobin?
Yeah.
Is that when I watch MMA with you, or watch, the guys, especially DC, explain it, basically he'll give you what the game plan is for the guy. Oh, here's what he's trying to do here. And then he'll immediately say what the other guy has to do to not allow this to happen. So whether guys trying to do a ground and pound, whatever, they give the back and forth. And I enjoy watching that, because I not only have an explanation of the offensive side of it, but the defensive side of it. Now, I don't understand why both Rhett Lashley and Manny Diaz are making it sound like, the game plan was perfect except for Alabama. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
They like to say, hey, we had a play that will work. Okay, you didn't take into account all them NFL pass rushers? You didn't take into account that what would happen if we don't have enough time? When you say, hey, the running back missed the block, the left tackle missed the blook. Yeah, it's like, they're really good.
It's like, are you guys out here running 7-on-7? Am I unaware of something?
Right. And they explain the game where they take the aspect of your competition out of the mix.